Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam and I'm a non-gamer.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at 10 Wickets by Seabrook Studios.
10 Wickets is coming to Kickstarter here in the very near future, so make sure to check out the link down below in the description of this video after you watch it. Now this is an auctioning game that takes place with a cricket theme. Cricket the sport, not cricket the insect. And Sam and I know absolutely nothing about cricket, and I've only watched maybe just like 15 minutes of a match before, so I don't really know hardly anything about cricket, but that's okay. You don't need to know anything about the sport to be able to play this game. What you are doing is you are auctioning off wickets, paying runs to win those wickets, and you want to try to win them with as few runs as possible because the runs are victory points in this game, and you're giving your opponent victory points to win these wickets. So you want to try to win them as low as possible. Let us show you how it works down below on the table, and then we'll come back and share our thoughts on it as a gamer and non-gamer. All right, I have 10 wickets on the table here. Let me show you guys how this auction game works. Now, I do want to make sure you understand that everything you see here is prototype. The final artwork, components, and rules may change once it's released from crowdfunding. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this game. Now, this is just a rules overview. It is not a comprehensive teach how to play video, so just keep in mind you do want to check out the campaign page to get a full list of the rules for this particular game. So what you have going on here, you've got some cards. You have two different types of cards in this game. You have your run cards here, and these are going to have numbers ranging from 1 to 62, I believe is the highest card in this deck. And these are victory points. And so you are wanting to get high numbers here if you are the player that's not winning the tricks, because essentially you are paying runs or victory points to the other player to win these cards out here, which these are wickets. And so if you are familiar with the sport of cricket, some of these terms will make sense to you. If you aren't familiar with cricket, no worries. You don't need to know how the sport works to understand this particular game. Now, you do have 3 wickets available to you in the middle of the playing area at all times. And underneath each of these cards are going to be other cards that have numbers on them showing you what the minimum bid for each of these wickets are. So for this all-rounder right here, you have to bid at least 16 runs from this deck in order to start trying to get this wicket for yourself. Whereas this opener right here, you only need a minimum bid of 9. And so how this game is going to work, you will have a hand of 6 cards at the beginning of the game. And again, these are going to have numbers on them. And on your turn, you have a number of actions available to you. One of the actions that you can do is place a bid for one of these wickets. And again, you have to make the minimum bid here. So for instance, if I wanted to, on this opener right here, since it's a 9, I could play this card here as a bet of 10. Let's turn that the other way so you guys can see it. And I would place my bets on this side, on my side of the wickets. The other player would be sitting across from me, and they would place their cards for their bids on that side. Now, a couple of things about placing bids. You can place more than one card and equal that up. That would obviously be 12. And then if you want to, later on, after you have a bid out here, and say the other player, maybe they bid 20, for instance, and so they have increased the bid for this particular wicket, outbidding me with my 12, you can pick up a card from your bid so long as you're adding another card that increases your bid. And you can tie with the other player, so you can see here we both have 20. And in that case, nobody is winning this wicket. However, I may just want to go ahead and bid higher than that person, and now I have a bid of 22. So that's how bidding for wickets works. Now, that's one particular action that you can do on your turn. Another action that you might do is get more runs. And there are 2 ways that you can do this. You can draw one card, adding it to your hand, and you will receive a good ball token. Now, these can be used whenever you're bidding, and what you'll do is you'll place it on a card. So right here, for instance, And the negative 10 here will apply to the minimum bid. So we're subtracting 10 from this, making the minimum bid for that all-rounder 6. And so on my turn, I could put the token out there with that card, and that is now the minimum bid, 6. And that would apply to the other player as well. They could bid 7 on their turn if they wanted to, or they could bid 6 and equal me. Now that's one way of getting runs. Another way you can get runs is to discard a card from your hand. So for instance, maybe I don't want this 12, and you would place it in a discard pile to the side, and you would draw 2 cards, adding them to your hand. Now you cannot draw and add cards to your hand if you already have 8. 8 is kind of the hand size limit in this game. So that's another action that you could do on your turn. The final thing that you could do on your turn is claim one of these wickets. So for instance, if the other player did not outbid me or equal my bid on this all-rounder, I could go ahead and claim that for myself. And a couple of things are going to happen. I'm going to take this all-rounder, any tokens that were on it are going to go back to the stack. And I will set this in front of myself with any other wickets that I've already won. And I'm going to group it by the type of wicket it is. So this is an all-rounder. As I mentioned earlier, this is an opener, and this is a tail ender. The number of dots here on the bottom of the card tells you how many of this particular type of wicket you can get in the game. So you can only ever have 3 all-rounders. You can only ever have 4 tail enders, 2 openers, that sort of thing. So you do want to keep track of these, grouping them by their particular type with the wickets that you've received throughout the game. So I would get this card. My bid for this card, for that wicket, is going to go to the other player, and what they're going to do with this card, they are going to notate it on their score sheet. So this is another component of the game, is the score sheet, and you can see there are 10 boxes here, and that's because you're trying to win 10 wickets. So my opponent would write 6 in this box right here. I'll go ahead and do that. And that is because I bid 6 on that wicket and I won. And so they are receiving 6 runs, or in other words, 6 victory points. But what will happen, because it's an all-rounder, they are going to have to mark off the top bonus here underneath all-rounder. And that is because I've basically taken that all-rounder and I've removed their option to get that bonus at the end of the game. And what this essentially means is this is a race to 10 wickets. And one player is not going to get to 10 wickets. They might only get, let's say, 8 wickets. And to compensate for the 2 that they didn't get, they will write in whatever bonuses are left down here on the bottom of their score sheet in these 2 boxes. And that'll make sense as the game plays along. And with that being said, go ahead and click the eye in the top right corner to check out the playthrough video that Sam and I did on this particular game, so that you can see that in action and understand how that exactly works for yourselves. And so these ones here that have a +1, all the numbers are just straight victory points. So if these 2, for instance, are my 2 left over, I would write 20 in one box and 15 in the other box. But let's say this keeper bonus is still available. I would write 20, and then at the end of the game, the player who didn't get to 20 or 10 wickets, any bids that they had left out here on cards that were still up in the market, let's say, they would take those cards up, take any cards that were in their hand, shuffle them up, and reveal 1 card. And whatever that card is going to get added to this bonus right here, and we would write that in the box. So in this case, 20 plus 10, we would write 30 in this box. You're going to add up all these numbers at the end of the game and put your total right here. And basically, whoever has the highest total is going to be the winner. So this is a game of wanting to try to win these wickets for as low runs as possible, because you're giving victory points to the other player when you win these. But you do want to try and win a lot of these, because essentially you are ensuring that you'll be taking away good bonuses for the other player when they don't get to 10 wins, and you're exchanging low runs for the wickets that you're winning. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Again, check out that playthrough video if you want an example of this game in action. But essentially, that's all there is to 10 wickets. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this unusual auction game.
And we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on 10 wickets from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective. So Sam, we have played a few auctioning games. It's not typically a mechanic that we do a lot here on Love to Hate. for whatever reason. Not that it's because of a gamer or non-gamer thing. It's just not something that I think we see too often. But this is an unusual, different kind of auctioning game. It's a very thinky, a lot more thinky than what meets the eye. And if you check out our playthrough video on this game, you can click that eye in the top right corner. You'll see just how intensely we're thinking our moves through as we play this game. What was your experience like with 10 Wickets?
It's really difficult to process that you're trying to beat the other person's score, but you're trying to get a low score.
Yeah.
So just that the scoring process takes a little while to kind of get moving.
There's a lot of, do I want to win this right now? Do I want to see if they'll bid higher so that then I can get the points?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of that going on with this game. And it's like you're taking these little baby steps, and you're just seeing how much farther the other person will go. And then eventually one of you's gone too far, and then they're taking the points because of it. And I like that tenseness with this game. It feels like a back and forth tug of war between each of the 3 wickets that are on the table at any given time.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you've got the bonuses. You've got that you can only have so many of a different position. There's just a lot of different layers to kind of have to figure out with this particular game. Wrapping your head around this game and trying to figure out the strategy and how to play well in this game. What was that like for you as a non-gamer?
Yeah, I don't think it was, the rules were not difficult. It was just processing it and figuring out what my strategy was. I still think after 2 games, I'm still figuring out. I definitely understood it a lot better the second time. Or I understood my own strategy a lot better the second time. The game in itself is fairly easy to understand. I think good for non-gamers. I think it's just figuring out a strategy so you can win is the part that is definitely geared more towards gamers.
Yeah, I will definitely say we've only gotten this game for about a week, 10 days, so we didn't have a whole lot of time to really kind of dig into this one, but I will say just in the short amount of time that we've had with this, you definitely find ways to get better at the game. You'll start seeing your score improve. So it's definitely not a game of luck. It is definitely a game of skill with this one, and reading your opponent and trying to press them and get them to press you back and go back and forth until one of you's like, no, I'm taking this for the points. And you can get better at this game is what I'm trying to say. So lots to like about this one. It's an unusual, different kind of game. I can't really think of a game out there that gives me a similar feel to it. It's very thinky, very tactical. Interesting game, and it has a nice theme onto it, and a theme that you don't really see at all in other games that I can think of.
And the artwork on the cards are...
Yeah, the artwork is really cool too, yeah. I like it a lot. So the game is 10 Wickets. It is from Seabrook Studios. It's on crowdfunding, so make sure to check out that link down below in the description of this video, and leave us some comments down below. Let us know what you think about it.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.